Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Ripple unlocks 100 million XRP. Community expects another sell-off to come. That's the latest article from crypto media outlet You Today. So gonna run through this. I was kind of not expecting to see this. As many of you know, ever since escrow was implemented by Ripple, 1 billion, it's 100, no, not 100, 1 billion XRP has been released from escrow at the beginning of each month, since the inception of this whole thing. And so here we are at the middle of the month, and I saw this article, Ripple unlocks 100 million XRP, and they're talking about escrow here. I was like, what the heck's going on? So I'm going to dig into this a bit. I've also got a story I want to share with you, also from You Today. And this one's titled, Mike Novogratz says he doesn't understand latest altcoin rally, offers dinner for best explanation. And I'll have a separate video where I talk a little bit more about price and what chart analysts are saying, because obviously, if you've been watching today, yesterday, lots of noteworthy price action. So I'll tell you what, the beginning of 2020 in terms of crypto price action has not really been boring, which is good if you're running a YouTube channel. It's fun to follow. I like it when things are interesting, though. It's getting a little spicy. But hey, before going any further, if you would please delicately tap that like button, and if you're a fan of Ripple and XRP, you done came to the right spot, son. Go ahead and subscribe to the Moon Lambo channel, because if you don't, your life will never be complete. And I think deep down you already know that. Mr. Non-subscriber of the Moon Lambo channel, get it together. All right, so again, Ripple unlocks 100 million XRP. Community expects another sell-off to come. On Tuesday, the price of the third largest coin, XRP, started surging along with the rest of the crypto market and briefly regained the 24-cent spot. At press time, the coin is trading at 23 cents after a tiny slump. Still, CoinMarketCap is showing an XRP growth of 7.23%. Meanwhile, Ripple has unlocked 100 million XRP from its escrow wallet. Some of the community believe that price manipulation is taking place since the stash has been unlocked amidst a long-awaited price growth. The transaction was detected and reported by Well Alert. Now, look, if anybody is taking that position, I suspect either they're not actually part of the XRP community or it's a minority faction of the XRP community, because the timing of this is purely coincidental. There's no proof to the contrary. We already know that Ripple is just a very responsible steward of the XRP ecosystem, very responsible with their own XRP holdings because they want it to be worth more in the future. And why wouldn't they? They're the largest holder of XRP. They have the most to gain and the most to lose. So yes, they're doing their best to be responsible stewards of the XRP ecosystem. So here's the tweet from Whale Alert. 100 million XRP worth about $23.8 million transferred from Ripple escrow wallet to Ripple. And so I thought, what the heck? Why is this happening in the middle of the month? And then I remembered that I had read on XRP Arcade that the 1 billion XRP coming out of escrow each month was no longer going to be 1 billion XRP as of February, was my recollection. I thought that it was going to be two smaller escrows of 500 million XRP each. And so I went ahead and checked out XRP Arcade. This is Leonidas' website. And sure enough, my memory did not fail me in this case. You can see here's the last escrow which completed, which was January 1st of 2020, 1 billion XRP. And you can see starting in February and moving forward, there's never going to be a 1 billion XRP escrow ever again, apparently. No more exist, I can tell you that. And so, again, it's just two smaller ones, 500 million. And I don't know what the rationale for is that. I haven't heard that explained, but that was it. And so I thought, okay, well, maybe one's coming out in the middle of the month, but that's not the case either. They're both coming out the same day still. It's the beginning of each month. It's just two smaller ones. And so I thought, well, what the heck is coming out of escrow here? And so I pulled it up. Here it is on BitHump. This is a real transaction, and you can see there's a balance here. And so I'll be honest with you. I don't have a firm answer for you here, but I only found in scrolling even through Twitter, because a lot of times there's always going to be somebody that has the answer to something, because none of us know everything, but together, all of us in the XRP community, we know quite a bit. And so I was scrolling through the whale alert and other places on Twitter, and there's one XRP community member that had what seemed to be a firm explanation on this, and responded to the whale alert here. And it's from Focus XRP. And Focus XRP wrote this. And also the date is just the date when they have accepted to get these XRP from escrow. It has been unlocked by smart contract on the first, and they just took it now. Nothing strange. So that's specifically what he had to say as far as why on January 15th. I don't know, and it's not that we should be privy to that information, but still, this obviously caught people's attention. But as far as the whole concept of this being timed so that they could just sell and take advantage of a higher price of XRP, that's a bunch of nonsense. I'll tell you what, if they really wanted to misbehave in terms of how they're treating their XRP holdings, they would have done it long ago when XRP was worth substantially more than it is today. They're not going to. It's just such a bogus claim. But again, the way it was positioned in that article, I like you today. They're generally pretty good, but just that whole concept, that narrative, it just doesn't make any sense. It's not grounded in reality. That's not what the XRP community as a whole believes. And I feel like I got my finger on the pulse of the community just because I spend way too much time. Like normal humans don't spend as much time researching this society. So that's all I'm saying right there. All right. Next here, and you can see, and the other thing that entered my mind too, and this wasn't the case either, I just pulled up this article for the heck of it, and I covered this at the beginning of the month. 900 million XRP goes back into escrow after Ripple released 1,256 billion coins, so 1.256 billion coins on January 1st. And I thought, okay, well, so 1 billion minus 900 leaves 100 million. Is this somehow related? But apparently there's no evidence for that to be the case either. So I don't know. So Focus XRP, again, that's the closest explanation of this that I could find. If anybody else knows anything, please feel free to drop a comment below or tag me on Twitter, and I will cover it in a future video. All right, next. Mike Novogratz says he doesn't understand the latest altcoin rally, offers dinner for best explanation. I mean, it did come out of nowhere, but I think a lot of times when these rallies occur, yes, there can be, technical analysts. It's just a numbers game. It's what's the probability of a price action for any general cryptocurrency or the asset class to go one way or the other. But sometimes this stuff really does just happen seemingly out of nowhere, and nobody could have predicted it. So I'm not saying that's what happened here. So let me dig into it here. Wall Street legend Mike Novogratz is apparently confused by what seems to be like the beginning of a new alt season. In his new tweet, he asks his followers to explain what is currently driving these altcoin pumps and offers dinner in New York to whoever comes up with the best idea. And there's a tweet on the screen describing as much. Some of the top replies range from the most obvious explanations to sophisticated tech analysis. Trader Josh Olszewicz, if I'm saying that right, and I'm sure I'm not, claims that Litecoin, EOS, Zcash, and Ethereum Classic were bound to surge due to a confluence of bullish indicators. According to Josh, BSV's monstrous rally also added yet another log to the fire. And so there's the tweet on the screen right there. Saifuddin Amos, the author of the Bitcoin Standard, explains that altcoins have practically zero liquidity, which means that it takes comparatively little money to significantly move their prices. Yeah, no kidding. I've talked about that in the past too, and that's why I'm not interested in doing this. I'm not a trader, and I don't want to gamble out there. But I've also acknowledged that when the next rally happens, if you happen to have a notable position, I mean, not that you even have to put a ton of money, maybe even put in like $100 or $500 or $1,000. If you pick the right small cap coin, the returns from that, at least over the short term, could dwarf any large cap coin, Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum, any of them. But I'm not advising doing that. I mean, I'm not offering advice, period. But to me, it seems like that would not be necessarily the best idea, because there's nothing to them. It's just a speculative situation in terms of that type of price action. I'm not interested. So for me, I invest only based on fundamentals. That's it. But in terms of returns, yeah, admittedly, if you do that, it could certainly go a lot higher there. And then they have this little subheading here: no questions about Bitcoin. While it's challenging for Novogratz to understand why altcoins are suddenly on a tear, he was absolutely certain about the reason behind Bitcoin's latest rally, as reported by you today. He opined that he felt more bullish on Bitcoin and gold due to the escalation of the latest political crisis, U.S., Iran, all that stuff. After moving in tandem with other macro assets, the top cryptocurrency stood its first major test as digital gold. Earlier, Novogratz predicted that Bitcoin could surge above $12,000 by the end of the year. Okay, well, I didn't hear his latest prediction until reading this article, that $12,000, but he was also saying that Bitcoin would be back to its all-time high of $20,000 by mid to late December of 2019. So take that with a grain of salt. I like the guy. I just noting that, take it with a grain of salt. That's it for this video, though. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!